Hello, good morning. Oh, hello everyone. It's Rita from Miss Rita to the Rescue. The dogs are really excited this morning because they spotted a turkey outside the door and they were just barking their heads off. So I figured I'd just jump on right now. Good morning. We are going to have fun today. Not that we don't have fun every day, but we're going to be making these things. It's so big, I can't even get it in the entire frame, but it is a vertical sign and we're doing it on the Joy, which is awesome. And so what I'm going to do is take and flip this over and put a Thanksgiving one on here. And just so that you know, this is one of those projects that this is perfect for the Joy. And I'm going to explain what you would do if you have the Explorer or the Maker. It's a little more confusing. Now, I am seeing that a lot of people are saying they're getting notifications. You know what? Yesterday, I switched back to the classic look of the page, and so I think that might be what happened. Everybody's saying they got their notifications. I don't know if that was it or if they somehow corrected it overnight, but it seems like kind of a weird coincidence. So thank you. I'm so glad to see so many people hearing that. Yes, it was, we live in a neighborhood. We don't live in the country. We live in a fairly, tightly populated neighborhood, but we have this group of turkeys that make their rounds, in the city, and they do kind of a really big loop around, and this time of year is when they come visiting. And it was Benjamin's first time seeing them, I think, so they were all very excited. But I thought it was appropriate because this morning I'm working on these vertical signs. So let me stop and just say hey to everyone. Good morning. Only a few more days till Halloween, and then we can well and truly jump into the holidays. I always feel like we need to get Halloween behind us before we can really just go all out with the holidays. And Thanksgiving oftentimes, as I've mentioned, gets sort of left out. So I wanted to show you how you could create something like this and put Halloween here, and then after Halloween you could flip it over and make it Thanksgiving. I'm thinking this board, you may or may not have something like this, but it's basically a 1x4. Excuse me. It's a 1x4 and it's pre-primed, and it was just leftover wood from a project that we were doing here at the house. It is pre-primed. So if you are wanting to do this and you don't have, you can buy it pre-primed, and that will save you some problems with the lettering, because I found that the basic wood not primed or not painted can have problems with sticking letters. So I like working in this pre-primed wood. Otherwise, if it's not 1x6, do you think? No, I don't think it's a 1x6. Let me see. 13. No, well, maybe it's 1x5. 13 to 17. What's that? Hold on, 10 to 4. It's just over 4, Annette. So, but it's 1 inch wide. And this particular one is about 36 inches long. But then I had my friend come and cut me a couple more this morning that were 30 inches. This one here's got a big crack or something in it, so I don't think I'm going to use that side. But this is just a piece of primed wood. But if you want to get like a if you want to try 4 or 6 or whatever, 1x6 is 3/4 times. Oh, Annette, you're going to lose me. 1x6 is 3/4 by 4 3/4. No, really? Really? Okay, you're losing me a little bit, Annette, because all I did was go in my garage and pick this out of the leftover wood that they were working on my back hall closet. So I just picked it up, and then the contractor who was here earlier brought me these other pieces. So he's not here to tell me, so I'm going to take your word for it. But when you're going to look for it, these are the signs. This is the sign. Yes, it's fine, Annette. I'm going to take your word for it because I really don't know. So this vertical sign, as I was saying, is fabulous for the Joy because the Joy does those extra long cuts. And we've done a cut where it was this way, horizontal. I believe it said sunny skies and apple pies. But this time around, I wanted to do this vertical look because I know that is very popular. And they've added several image sets of vertical. So, and I love, look at this spider. It's so cool coming down from there. So I want to show you where to find these. I want to talk about if you want to do this on your Explore or Maker, because I don't want to leave anybody out. As always, I always like to try to find a way for people to do this on any machine that they have. But today we are going to do it on the Joy. And I happened to pick up over the summer, this smart vinyl. It's removable, which is fine. Remember I told you smart vinyl is, the removable vinyl is really, it's about the stickiness and what happens when you remove it. It's not about the lasting as much. I mean, it will last. It may not last as long. So you just need to oh, you just got the Joy. So, if you do find it, I got this and it was an unbelievable deal in Michael's. It was a clearance item. Perhaps they were, I don't know, putting in a new color, but I really love this color. They call it wine. I call it cranberry, and I'm going to show you how to cut it on the Joy. So let me start by saying that these images are indeed on Cricut Design Space. You do not need to purchase anything, and there are many of them. So if we're working on the Joy, and today I'm working on my iPad, which you don't have to work on your iPad to work on the Joy. It's easier for me because I have my Maker, which is sort of big, attached to my desktop, and then so the Joy is movable, so I use my iPad. But you do not need to use iPad with Joy, but you can. And I find it convenient. So anyway, let's find these images. So if we are in the iPad app, we would go to Images, and let me go to this thing here. Under highlighted categories, we're going to choose image sets. And this is the same, similar to when we choose image sets on Design Space on our desktop or our laptop. But in this case, we're going to type in long, or you can type in long cuts if it's simpler. And what you get are these wonderful, if I put cuts in there, it adds a number of things. So I'm just going to put long. Okay, so what you get is 6 responses from long, and they are tile long cuts, hardware long cuts, everyday long cuts, which have been there from the start of the Joy. And then below it, there are these two image sets, Halloween long cuts and Thanksgiving long cuts. So we'll just pop into the Halloween one. And there are 11 of these to choose from. I chose 2 different ones. I chose this one, Come In for a Spell. And then where's the Trick or Treat? There's the Trick or Treat that I chose. But look, there's one like with a reference to Edgar Allan Poe. There's a haunted house. There's dancing skeletons. There's a pumpkin. There's a witch one. There's a mummy one. There's a lot of them. So you can choose any one of those, of course. And then if you're not into Halloween and you want a fall or Thanksgiving one, there are 7 of these for the Thanksgiving. So I wanted to just mention about this particular one right here. It's called Autumn Blessings. I found when I started resizing this for the board that I'm working on, the vegetables looked really squished. So you want to probably keep that in mind with the board that you're going to work on, okay? But other than that, they all resize beautifully. And so you can just choose whichever. So I'm going to choose the Grateful and insert it. So here's how it comes in. And it comes in pretty long as it is, but what I have done is I've resized these. I definitely had to resize the ones when I had the larger. Let's see if this is the one that I had to do resize. Okay, yeah. So let me just show you. So see how the difference here in the Give Thanks, because my board was over 35 inches long. So I had to resize it. It looks a little bit stretched. I think the perfect size for these are probably less than 30. And they come in here at 28 approximately inches. So if you are looking for a board or you're going to get something cut for you, try to aim for 30 inches. If you get the longer one, it will work, but it looks a little bit more stretched, right? So so this is what you have to do. Very little needs to be done to make this fit your board, although you do have to watch the width. So in this particular case, let's look at this one. They Come In for a Spell. Here, I have a 30-inch board now. Well, the one that I showed you is 36, but the other one I have is 30. So I had to unlock it. See that? I had to unlock it, and I had to make sure that the height was around the 30. And the most important thing is the width. So, with a Joy, you can only go up to 4 1/4 inches for the width, or for one of the parameters, I should say. So in this case, my board was perfect for that, and I just had to change the width to just under 4 because that's going to work well with my machine. Now, if you have a Maker or an Explorer, how can you cut these? Well, you have two choices. If you have a 12 by 24 inch mat, you can cut on the 12 by 24 inch mat using the big rolls. And I don't have a big roll in front of me, but you could use a big roll if you have enough on the big roll. Or you could do what I started to do, which was cut the image into quadrants or into slices of 12 inches or really 11.5, because that's the maximum on a 12 by 12. And I'll show you. Let me just move these guys out of the way just so I can show you what I did. Here we go. Sliced image. So what I did was I sliced these images so that I could cut them, and then I have to piece them together. So, okay, let me just get rid of my layers. Okay, so here's what I did. So actions, I'm going to ungroup. And I took that come in come in. I don't think I have to make my screen smaller. Come In for a Spell. So see what I did was I cut it into these little pieces that are no more than 11.5 inches tall, and then I could cut it and piece it together. Yes, it's a nightmare. And yes, is a reason why if you plan on doing a lot of these vertical signs, and I think it's a good indication that they're going to have more like for Christmas and stuff by the fact that they have two different groupings there. But you could definitely do this by cutting your image into sections of 11.5 until you have all of them. I had to do it for this image. I had to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 groups. Wait, 6. I had to do 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then what I would do is piece them together. So when I say that this project is fabulous for the Joy, it really is, because this would be a bit of a headache and you'd have to be very, very kind to yourself and be very patient with putting this together. It's not impossible, but it would require you to sort of, and so this is if you want to cut it with, yes, Alexis, so when you cut these out into these sections, they would appear like this on the mat, you see? Like this, because they're only 4 inches wide. Actually, two would work. So this is the way that it would cut. It would probably cut with 3 different mats with 2 pieces on each one, and then you could weed it all and then sort of piece it together, and that would work too. Or you could use the 12 by 24 inch mat with, you can either make, if you want to make something more than the 24 inches, you can do the cutting, but cut it in bigger chunks, okay? So that is how you would do it on the Explore. So let me just hide this one here because that I don't want to confuse everyone. And so here we go. So we have this give thanks and we have this grateful, and I want to show you how it cuts on the Joy. So I'm going to actually cut out, I think I'm going to cut this one here, this grateful one, because it's going to fit on my 30-inch board and it will go pretty quickly because there's not a whole lot of fancy here. So let's go ahead, and what we do here on the iPad is we hit make it. Okay, now in this particular case, normally you get a choice, but the Joy knows, and I have changed my machine to Joy for, let me just go back and just show you that. So if you have more than one machine, you always need to change your selection to Joy if you're going to cut with the Joy, right? And the second step is you need to make sure that you have your Bluetooth on, which is right here, Bluetooth on, Joy connected. Okay, so here we are. We're going to cut this. And then what we need to do is just hit make it. Now, because the image is so large, the Joy knows you can only do this if you're using smart materials, okay? So if you were to cut this up, which I don't recommend, it would give you the chance to do it on the mat if you wanted to do. But this one, it already knows this is a very long cut, and so needs to be smart materials, okay? So we're going to do without mat, and here we go. This is our preview screen, just like on our desktop. This is the preview screen, and you'll see up here, there's a number 1, and in a little square, and that is supposed to represent a mat. Okay, even though this is not on a mat, it's just kind of showing you how many cuts you have. But if you clicked on this, you can see a little bit more detail about your cut. So here I'm going to make 1, and this is how long my cut's going to be, 29.75 inches. So I need that much in material, and if for whatever reason I needed to do an iron-on, which I don't, here's a way to mirror it, okay? And then all we need to do is hit continue and choose our material. And so here we get the choices. There are 2 different ones, smart vinyl in removable, smart vinyl in permanent. And I am going to be using this removable smart vinyl in this color that I would call cranberry. So I'm going to choose removable. And here we go. It says I have to make sure my blade is in here, which it is, but in case you happen to be taking it out for whatever reason, you need to make sure your blade is in there. And then we're going to feed this roll into the Joy. And just get it out of the box. And I think if it's one color, it's 48 inches, so I should have enough, but the machine does check for that. So what I'm going to do is feed it underneath these like little tabs here. And it's going to kind of pull it in, load it in, make sure I have enough material for our cut, which is what it's doing. And I would definitely give yourself enough room on your work surface. If you have a really, really long piece, such as this one here, which is 240 inches, you may need to hold it so it doesn't fall off of your table. But now it's ready, and you see that there's the blinking light. And so I'm going to hit go. And it's preparing, and it will continue to do so, and it will cut this entire thing. And it doesn't take a whole lot of time to do this. So I want to just put this over here. By the way, my iPad will tell me when the cut is done. So, for instance, if I walk out of the room or need to let the dogs out, say, I can have my iPad with me and it can say, you know, your cut is done. And what I also saw, another product expert when we were doing this, who had a smart watch, like an Apple Watch, and her Apple Watch was telling her that the cut was done. I don't think she could run out the cut on her watch, but she was able to be notified on her watch, which I thought was really kind of a cool little thing. So when it gets done, here is what you're going to see. And we have to weed just like we weed anything. So we need a weeding tool. That's what this is. And by the way, if you're using a very long piece, you will need to cut, once it's done, you'll need to cut it wherever your design ends, and you can keep it. For instance, when I did this brown one, I had a few extra inches there, so I'm keeping it in the box so I can use it for something else. Same thing for this one. I had quite a bit left over because it was a 240 inch long roll. Okay, so it sounds like it's almost done, actually. Look at our little circle timer thing. Whoa, I dropped my weeding tool. Hold on, I gotta grab my weeding tool. And so this is a pretty quick project once you have all your materials and you get it done. You do have to weed just the same as you're weeding anything, and I'm going to show you that weeding in, hopefully I can put it in here a little bit, but I want to continue to show that machine. So the weeding is done the way you weed anything, right? So, but it's all in one piece. And if you find it's more useful to you to sort of cut as you go along, you can do that too. So I find it a little easier to sort of cut as I go along, because then I don't have this big, huge thing. Okay. Well, you know, they're adding more colors, I guess, and they're also expanding the amount of colors that are in the extra long. But I do like the smart materials. I think as the fall happens, we're going to see more things on sale, just because this was launched in the spring, and usually if something's launched in the spring, you'll start to see more things on sale. So there's that. So again, if you have a problem with having this much vinyl in your hands, then just cut it. You don't have to have it all in a big ball as you're weeding, and it might cause a problem. So it's best to do it that way. Hey, guess what? Our cut is done. So let me show you. Here is my notification. Action is complete. My cut is done. And then it brings me to here. And so you can then, unload it. And it falls on the ground, of course. But here's our cut. So I don't know if you can see that, but I'm going to cut it right here because this piece is useful and the machine can take it. So it's best to save it because we like to save things. So here it is, and I'm going to show you weeding it as well as weeding this other one. And then I'm going to show you how to apply it. So I'm going to move you a little down a little bit more so you can see the weeding a little bit more. So I started to weed this one. It says, give thanks. And it weeds just like other weeding. You can start and do the big sections first. And again, you can just sort of, as you're going along, if it bothers you to have this much, if it bothers you to have this much like product in your hand like this, you can just cut like this all along. And sorry, I have to take it out of view just to see what I'm doing. Okay, so we're starting to get to the letters. Let me just pull this up. And we're going to have to come back and weed a little bit more. But here it's starting to do some of the weeding already for us, right? So we're going to take away the majority of the cut, or the negative space that we talk about. Here we go. Okay. And when you are doing this, be careful because sometimes little pieces can pull up and you don't want that. So there's that. Let me just, sorry if I'm not in the frame completely, just to take off the majority. So now I'm just going to go back with my weeding tool and look for where I need to weed in the smaller spaces. So in this case, I need to make sure these little cuts up here. Come on. I'm going to use a little weeding tool so that it comes out. There it is. It's not the end of the world if I lose it, but I like it to be as close to perfect as possible. And there it is. Okay. And here we go. Whoop. I'm not in screen. Okay, sorry. And then in between this little flourish, and then here in between the side, the two lines on the side, just really a beautiful image. Get rid of that. And then in between on the letters, you have to go back and do some of the letters. I don't know if, no, you don't. So here are the letters H, and here is A. You have to take the middle part out of the A. Let's do the N. Okay, and then the K. It is a bit satisfying, and it does weed kind of fun. It is sort of fun to weed this in the long way. I don't know what happened. The S. I guess I took off that part of the S. So be careful of that. And yeah, I kind of weeded out these pieces. It's not something that most people would notice, but I noticed it. And because I'm the one that created it. But see what I did here? I took this part off and those little pieces. So that's weeding. Let me show you the one we just did. The one that says thankful, grateful. We did the grateful one. So again, we're going to start at the top, or top is usually best place to start, and it weeds pretty quickly. I'm going to take off the outside edge first. Okay. And I do not like to have all this like leftover vinyl on my hands, kind of fussy like that. So I'm going to put it away as I go along. So here we go. Let me just look at this design. It appears to me that this part is, yep, that's the way it's going to go. Go slow. Yep, I should go slow. I know. I'm always cognizant of the time too, though. So in this particular case, it has these 2 lines running down. So I need to not rush because it could pull them up. Okay. So here's our G. Here comes our R. Okay. And there's our A. T. I'm going to, I got to take this stuff off my hands because I don't like it sticking to my fingers. And there's the T. Be careful here. Sorry, I'm sticking over here to my transfer tape. Okay, so there's the side. I'm going to get to the rest of the letters in a sec. Just want to make sure that this second line, see here, it's pulling up. So I'm going to go a little slow and do that. Make sure that that's there. Okay. Now we can go back and do my letters. So here's T. E, F, which we have to weed a little more, U, L. All right, so we got it mostly cut out. There are some little like lines in the letters, so we have to go and weed those little lines out like this. I need to get up real close to see it. Okay, so here's the U. Is there one on that side? No. And then we have to just weed around the F. Almost done. This one was a quick one. Okay. Inside the A. And then these little letters. And inside the R, and these little lines here. Okay, almost done. So, this one that I just did, now you have to use transfer tape, correct? And if you do not have Joy transfer tape, which they do have, but I found out I do not have a lot of it. This is my Joy transfer tape, and they do have it, and let me just show you. That's all I have left. So that's not going to work for me. So what I did was I took my regular transfer tape, and this to me is a better bargain than using the Joy Smart Vinyl transfer tape. Just a better bargain for me, but I basically cut it in 4 inches, and I just measured on my ruler here and cut 4 inches off. Okay, so this to me is a better bargain than buying the what do you call it, transfer tape specifically for the Joy. So here's what we did. We cut out 3 pieces, and they're 12 inches a piece. So there's going to be a little bit of overlap, which is fine. And then we're going to take the top of the transfer paper off. And you could start at the top, you could start at the bottom, it doesn't matter. Whoops. You know what? I didn't cut it wide enough, but that's okay. I'm going to show you how to get around that. So we're starting here, and then we're sort of laying it down. Now see here, I do not have enough transfer tape on there. So I'm going to take some transfer tape that I had from the other project and sort of overlap it here, because I need for it to come off with the other one, okay? So, and that's fine, and I can actually cut this part if I wanted to and use it as I go up. That's fine. Let's do that. Okay. All right, so let's do the other piece of transfer tape. Oh yes, there was a mystery box yesterday, and I hope that anybody that wanted one got one. There was a brand new cutie in there, and it was a new color cutie. People were asking, is it the same as mint? And it is not. The new cutie is called pistachio, like that favorite ice cream, pistachio pudding too. Something I ate a lot of as a kid. I don't know why. As a kid, I ate a lot of this salad that my mother used to make called, I don't know if anybody remembers this, but it's called Watergate salad. And it was made with pistachio pudding, marshmallows, pineapple, Cool Whip, and walnuts. It was the strangest thing, but it was so good. Okay, so we're going to continue on, and we're overlapping the transfer tape here, right here, because we want every part of the vinyl. I'm sorry I'm not doing the most perfect job of this, but transfer tape can be a little difficult to work with. And at least you know, if you've never worked with it before, you know that not everybody has a super great handle on it. Okay, so now I have my entire, not my entire thing. Let me find another little piece that I didn't cut this wide enough for. Excuse me. Here. Okay, so here we go. So we have the transfer tape, and I would definitely do what's called burnishing. You can do it with the side of your scissors. You can use your scraper. You can use a credit card or whatever you have available that you can do this to. And what that is doing is it is putting the transfer tape, or putting your cutout onto the transfer tape, because then we're going to take the transfer tape up. We won't need the back, and we're going to apply it to our sign. Super simple, but we're dealing with a very long cut. So here's what I would do, is I would turn it upside down, and I would start to make sure it's coming off the back. And I do this very slowly, you see here, and I kind of do it at an angle. Now, the backing to Smart Vinyl is much thicker than the backing to regular vinyl, and you will notice, if you're used to working with regular vinyl, you will notice this, okay? So this is coming off really well. I did burnish it really, really well. But I don't want to speak too soon, because you never know. All right, so here we go. Hey, we're going to get snow here in Massachusetts on Friday. I don't know if you all have had snow yet, but I'm surprised to have it. Well, not surprised. I mean, every once in a while we get snow before Halloween. And this will be just before Halloween. Okay, Rita. Be patient. Be patient. I feel like it's flypaper sometimes. It's kind of a little crazy. So there's that place where I kind of had to put that extra piece on there. I hope I can get it up correctly. Come on. Maybe move it a little closer to me so I can have a look-see. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm going to use my weeding tool. And remember, folks, I'm doing this live. So you get to see all my little, problems where in other cases, people, they do it, they make it look like it's so simple. It's not terribly simple. And so, you have to have patience with yourself and with the product that you're working on. And by the way, if you get frustrated, which I will get frustrated, I definitely get frustrated, then take a break. Take a coffee break or something, because you don't want to get so frustrated that you say, forget it, I never want to do this again. And that just would not be good, because let's face it, that happens to everybody. I'm going to turn this around like this. That happens to everybody. Just want to make sure I'm good over here. Okay. I'm a little problem right here on the top, but that's okay. We'll get through it. Okay, so here we go. We have the whole sign here. I'm hoping I can show you how to put this on and still stay in camera. So here's my piece of board that I'm going to use, the smaller piece of board. I'm going to move you up a little bit so you can get a better view. And let's see, we're going to go up here. I know this is going to be a problem at the top. So I think what I'll do is I'll start from the bottom this time. And I'm just holding it sort of near the bottom. I don't know if that's in camera. It's probably not. And I can't move the camera right this second. This I made pretty wide. That might be what the problem was. I made it pretty wide because it looks like it's barely going to fit on both sides. Yeah, just have to keep it going straight because it is really going to barely fit. Now, if I were doing this alone, I might lift it up and try to get it better centered on here, but time and all that stuff. So let's hope this is going to fit. Okay, here we go. Just want to make sure it is really on the edge without overlapping on the edge. Okay. This is a tough one. I should have made it thinner, but I did not. That's okay. We'll still go along. And now that I have it on my board, I'm going to then try to peel off the transfer tape because we don't leave the transfer tape on. And you'll excuse the fact that this is slightly over the edge. And you'll do better. You will do better than I am doing because you'll be paying close attention to what you're doing and not talking during the whole process like me. I'm sorry, I do talk a lot. But here it comes up. And brandishing would be a good idea, Rita. Here we go. And you see that? Yeah. Okay. I got an extra piece of, for some reason, I got this extra piece of transfer tape in there. What did that happen? Okay, there we go. Okay. There we go. So for my other sign that's a little bit longer, I have that trick or treat on one side, and I'm going to flip it over and do a Thanksgiving on the other. So I figured I'd put it out on my steps. And because, you know, it's only going to be out there for a month or so, it should be fine. Here we go. Oh, thank you for being patient with me as I do this. But let's see. We got to be patient with ourselves. I know I say that a lot, but it's true. We're learning new things, trying new things. Here we go. Almost. Why isn't that little part of the E? It doesn't want to come off. Come on. Come on, E. There. Come on. You can do it. All right, here we go. Oh, you little rascal. Okay, here we go. We're doing it. We're doing it. And now the T is going to follow suit. I could even do this, cut this now if I want to, which might be a good idea. Ugh, I don't know why I have these scissors. I have to throw them away. They do not work very well. I have a feeling my son used them for one of his projects, and they've never worked well ever since. So, okay, here we go. T is coming. We're almost to the top where we are going to have a problem, I think. So, I got to be cognizant of that. All right. And these are pretty thin lines. So go slow. That's the moral of the story for this. Okay. Whew. Almost there. Almost there, folks. When I get this done, I want a lot of hearts. Just kidding. Well, not really. Hey, are the turkeys back? Come on. Okay, so this is where I think I'm going to have a little problem, and I am right here at the top. Whoop. Yep, there's my G. Okay, almost done, almost done. Be patient, Rita. Okay, there we go. All right, just that little piece right there. So I need to just lift this a little tiny bit and lay it down like this. And this here does not look straight, so I'm gonna fix that. All right, what do you think? Yay! I know I can't get it all in a view, but it really did come out pretty cool. And you saw me do it in a few minutes. So this is not a difficult project. I think it's just one that requires a little bit more patience than others. And because if you're not used to, we're used to working with a lot of paper. So there's that too, if you're not used to working with vinyl, or if you have both machines and you favor one over the other, which is sort of me. I do often use my Maker and don't use my Joy as much as I would like to. And this is a great project. Let me show you the other one, the trick or treat one again. So here you go. Trick or treat. Now, how much would you pay for that? And you made it yourself. Think of it that way. Like, I think if I went to a craft fair or something like that, I probably would see these for $20, $30. I don't know, maybe more. I don't really know. And I made it myself with just a leftover piece of board and my Joy and some smart vinyl. So you can do, I would be a nervous wreck. Nah, it's okay. So there is, I'm not a nervous wreck. I'm getting used to being live and making mistakes. And you guys are very, very pleasant about being patient with me. So I'm going to flip this over after we get off. I'm going to flip this over and do my other long one on there. I'll take some pictures so you can see it. Listen, I want you to try this. This is fun. If you don't have a Joy, remember you can do like up to it's like 23 inches, up to 23 inches long if you have the 12 by 24, and most rolls of vinyl can go that long. And just get a smaller piece of wood. Now, in November, because October's almost over. In November, we'll be doing a lot, like a wider vertical with big letters that spell out. I'm not really sure. I'm going to either do home or snow. If I do the home, what I might do is just have the O be like a thing that you can change out. Like you can have a snowflake in the winter, and then in the spring you could have, I don't know, a flower, and the summer you could have a sun, something roundish, I suppose. And then in the fall, I suppose you could have a leaf. So we're going to do that coming up. And then tomorrow, what are we doing? We're doing some Joy, or any other machine, but specifically Joy cards that are for Thanksgiving. So we'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. And I thank you all for coming today. And don't forget, we're here. And then I will post this video for the replay on YouTube and also throughout Facebook. Thanks everyone for coming and for sticking with me, and we'll see you again soon. Have a wonderful day. Hope it's filled with crafting. Take care.